Now, it takes a brave man to bring up the issue of divorce whilst surrounded by 4 women. Where are you when I need you, Nick? But surely the time has come for our divorce laws to be sorted so they are fairer to all involved. There was a recent appeal court case in which this woman, Maria Mills, was able to get her maintenance payments increased for the rest of her life because she no longer had the lump sum she received when the divorce happened 15 years earlier. In court, Graham Mills' barrister argued that he shouldn't have to pick up the tab for his ex-wife's poor financial decisions. Her barrister claimed she was unable to meet her basic needs. Of course, when children are involved, they have to be provided for financially. But children do grow up and become independent. The Mills boy is now 21. I know we all say for richer, for poorer, but what this ruling seems to mean is that if you get divorced, one of you, usually the husband, could end up with an inflation-linked lifelong commitment to pay the other.
It's a good week for this subject, isn't it? Because there's also that story about a couple who are in the courts now where the man, they've been married for something like 39 years, and the husband's not allowing the wife to get divorced.
And the judge agrees with him.
And the judge has agreed with the husband, and he says, oh, it's quite normal to have bickering in a marriage, and yes, the wife had an affair, and of course you're going to be berated for that for the next 25 years. I think that, yes, probably divorce law is in a mess, and that, the case I just mentioned, shows the silliness of not having no-fault divorce, and we've clearly got to have that. What you're talking about is the financial settlements after splits. And, you know, I think London has been called the divorce capital of the world, but I do think we also have to be careful because each case is different. And the barrister in the case of this couple has said that she needed a certain amount of money. You know, she wasn't profligate, she wasn't wanton, and I think we've got what the barrister actually says.
She had health issues as well, didn't she?
So here was a woman left with responsibility for a young child without enough money to buy a house, which was good enough in her view. It was reasonable for her to get a mortgage. She has not been found to be wanton in having credit card debts in order to have a living wage for her and her son. So each case is different. I actually did a story last year in which there was a settlement, and the tabloids, and me among them, said, you know, this gold digger who's been after her husband for more money, wasn't happy with 3 million. When I drilled down into the case, it was far from what the headlines would suggest. I think we've got to be very careful in individual cases.
I agree with that, and I think the more you read about Mrs. Mills, I have some sympathy. And, of course, when children come into it, I mean, you've obviously got to provide for the children.
Yes, but her child is 21.
Yes, he was. But there is that question, and I'm arguing against myself here. There is a question that says if someone has spent their life bringing up a child, has that interfered with their career prospects, and therefore could they not have earned as much? What I think is unfair in the whole thing is that suddenly 20 years after, or 15, 20 years after you've got divorced, suddenly you can end up back in court and your ex-wife or ex-husband can demand more money because they have lost their money. And it seems to me that's pretty odd.
But it makes my blood boil. This woman, she got 1,100 all those years ago a month to look at.
Which was a lot back then.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And now that's been increased to 1,441. If this doesn't meet her basic needs, she needs to get a job that does meet her basic needs. Her son is now 21. He's just finished.
She's got a job.
It's not enough.
Sound like a huge increase over 20 years, 300
But she doesn't need
so.
an increase. She's been split from this guy for 15 years. You know, why don't we have divorces where, as you say...
Carol, he retained the businesses.
Yeah, but she
has a running income.
She gave her 230
to buy a house.
Yeah.
And she's bought and sold houses for the last 3 years. Because she hasn't made her money work, she cannot then come back to him. What was all women's hard fought for equality about?
Precisely.
If we have to go back to a man 15 years after we've divorced him and say, please, I can't live without help from you, it's nonsense. No. And if you can't earn enough money, retrain, get a job and earn more money.
Carol, it sets women's lib way back. This is just, I mean, she is an adult, and yes, she has had health issues, but it doesn't seem like she has them anymore. No. I'm sorry, she's responsible for herself.
And single mums have health issues too, and they have to get on and earn a living.
Well, and she did get a lump sum.
She did.
And
A big
with
lump
it,
sum.
a big lump sum, which at
I
the
would be
time was
happy
enough to buy
give me
a house.
£250,000.
She invested in property.
Three properties.
in London. And
I managed to lose it.
I was about to say, it's a certain kind
quite
of special,
difficult.
isn't it, to lose money on
It's
London
quite-
property over the last decade.
However, all I'm saying is, look, come on, let's sort out this. I mean, in Scotland now, you can't get these sort of payments. It's capped after 3 years. And it seems, I mean, like someone who went through a divorce a long time ago.
Can you imagine?
And just split everything and said, look, that's yours, that's mine.
Exactly, that's the way to do
Now,
it.
the trouble is, if you've got children, it's more difficult.
Oh, so the kids are
Did you
21,
know?
Carol. You know, he's not as if children go into the workforce when they're 13 now.
No, but the thing...
Well, hold on, Michelle, do you think a man shouldn't be a plan?
So where I struggle with this, because I do very much believe in the Institute of Marriage, and I do very much believe in teamwork and, you know, not being able to just divorce very quickly and easily. And I guess where I struggle with this is it's really difficult to generalise because each situation is specific. But if you have a situation where one of the parties, let's use your example, it is the man, but it could be the woman as well. So one of the parties has set up a business, is working on that business, and the other party decides, right, I'm going to support this business by allowing you to focus on it, because by doing the childcare, you're still supporting this business, you're letting him or her focus on the business. So the business owner focuses on the business, creates a business that is growing and growing and growing. Now, if that business is providing you forever with a lifestyle and you've been the supporting party that's enabled the creation and growth of that, is it therefore wrong to say, I was there, I supported the creation of this
She
business?
enabled the growth of the company. If that's the case, she should have taken shares in that business.
Look at what Mr. Bill's barrister said. He said, it is the husband's case that he should not be the insurer against the wife's poor financial decisions over 15 years.
Yep.
The time is long overdue for the wife to terminate her financial dependency on the husband.
But the wife in this case is claiming that she didn't bring this case to court. She didn't ask for more money, but the husband tried to get a reduction, and then the judge ended up saying, actually, you should be getting more. It's unclear, but this is what she said.
The people that win in these cases are the lawyers. The amount of money the divorce lawyers are making.
Also, Michelle, you're saying, you eventually want to get married one day. I want to get married. This is giving straight men more reason not to get married because they can come back 20 years later.
I have a lot of male friends who've lost out in divorces, much more so.
Big time, so do I.
Because women expect to live in the same big house they had when they were married. They don't want to relinquish that. They want to keep that.
Carol, the statistics and surveys all show that men both do better out of marriage and do better out of divorce than women do. So I don't know who your friends are, but I mean, most women suffer financially
their
after
friends have had to give up the big house.
But also, we need to take into account that he now is married with a new family and new responsibilities.
And quite right,
it's
he wants to put
unfair.
his money there.
It's absolutely unfair.
I know, and you can, and that's what drew me to it. That 15 years later, you suddenly find you've got to pay more.
Yeah,
now this is going to go on forever.
All that sticks in my head, and we don't know the ins and outs, but depending on who you listen to, she's saying she didn't go to the court and ask for more money. Actually, the only reason they were in the court in the first place is because he went to the court and said, I want to reduce it.
But she's still taking 1,100 quid a month from him 15 years after the divorce to maintain her. Why should he have to maintain her? I don't understand it.
Because that's the commitment he made 15 years ago. But it is the commitment he made for life. I mean, which
did he make it for life?
He made a commitment for life. It seems to me what you need to sort out is the whole system. That's what I'm really saying. Is let's go along, see if you can get. I mean, it's always more difficult with kids involved.
I'm going to have to interrupt you there.